Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, 320 Sim Pilot, and today we're taking a look at the Avro Vulcan in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. We have already seen this fantastic aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 from JustFlights, and they kindly sent me over the 2024 version, or the updated version, so that we can try it out in this new sim. It's now compatible with both, so I believe if you purchase it, you can just choose the simulator you want to use it in. And like I say, today we're going to see it in 2024. We'll get to experience a bit of the low-level flying because I'm going to take it for my first time through the Mach loop. This is a low-level training area used by the RAF in Wales, in the United Kingdom, and it is used for training pilots to fly at low level at high speed. So we're going to take the Vulcan through it. It's quite challenging. It's taken me a while to understand how to do it, and I'm sure I'll be getting it completely wrong anyway, but should be a good bit of fun. And we'll get to see some of the new, look at this, the detailed scenery we get with Flight Simulator 2024. I think it's a good use for it, and we'll just try out this new version of the Vulcan just to try it out. But like I say, mainly a compatibility update, but it's always a good excuse to take the Vulcan for another spin. This is a Cold War British nuclear bomber, so it is an amazing machine that is very famous and much beloved by the UK aviation community because of its fantastic design and awesome sounds, which are included in this version as well, which we've seen before and we're going to get to enjoy today. So let's go for our flight. So as we've seen before, if we go and choose our Vulcan, excuse the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 menu taking you to the wrong place all the time, but there we go. We select our Vulcan and we have a few variants we can choose from. So first of all, we have the Vulcan B Mark II with the Olympus 200 series engines, the older engine, slightly less powerful than the other variant, which is the Olympus 301 version of the B Mark II, so the same aircraft but the better engine or the more powerful engine, but it doesn't make that same howl that we want, that so many people enjoy. And then of course we finally have the BTTS version with the Olympus 200 series engines. So I'm going to take up the Vulcan B Mark II with the Olympus 200. I want to get that howl, of course, and we'll take it up in the XH558 livery, which is the livery, of course, of the final flying Vulcan in the UK. So there we go. Let's take it for a spin. So today, for the first time, I'm going to be flying in the Mach loop. This is a training area for low-level flying the RAF uses. It is in Wales. It's in central Wales, or just north of that, and it's called Mach loop because it starts at a town called Machynlleth, I believe is how it's said, but anyway, there we go. There's a town here which is the start, so it gets its name from that, and it's a loop series of valleys that fighter jets and other aircraft, cargo aircraft as well, and other military machines fly low-level training sorties through here in this sort of orbit around. I've never been. I'd love to go and see some flying there, but it starts off, you fly along this valley, and then you at some point take a left. It's taken me a while to get my head around it, and then you take another left round here. That's the Mach loop there, and you sort of follow this road round, and then it brings you out back down into the valley, and then you can sort of repeat it, and it's pretty exciting. It's a really fun thing to try out in the simulator. So we're going to do a flight from RAF Valley, which is the military base up here in northwest Wales, and then we'll head down and take on the loop in the Vulcan. So here is our glorious XH558 Vulcan B Mark II on the runway at RAF Valley, ready for our flight down to the Mach loop. You can see that this is a pretty clean configuration, but I'll show you in just a moment. You can actually change what sort of equipment you want fitted to your Vulcan, so you can have lots of different styles, but yeah, just to show you, the exterior model is absolutely lovely on this aircraft all round. It's got loads of detail and really captures the sort of paint scheme and the matte effect of it on the Vulcan. I really like it. Lots and lots of care has gone into this, you can see that. Some great sounds too, which we'll hear as we get the simulator up and running. There's those glorious engines that are going to give us that fantastic howl. Look at the underside of the wing as well, all the different panels, rivet lines, dirt and grime. It's really cool. This is an airplane that needed justice in Flight Simulator, and we did get it with this version in 2020, but it's nice to be able to fly it in 2024, of course. On the flight deck then, it's a really cramped flight deck. I believe, I need to confirm this, but my understanding is the Vulcan was originally conceived to have one pilot. So it's quite a small flight deck to fit two into, and then you've also got other crew stations down below. If my simulator doesn't break, there we go. Through this hatch down here, it's incredibly cramped, quite something. What you can do is go down to your EFB, which sits on your lap down here, and then you can change how you want the airplane fitted out. So we can make it into a tanker variant, which is pretty cool. And if we go outside, you can see the drag hose on the back here that would be used to refuel other aircraft. You've got the 201 engines, you've got the nose probe, and then you can obviously choose different weapons and tanks and so on. So yeah, lots of cool things. You can have some automatic options as well, such as having it automatically do the shoot after landing, because it does have a drag shoot if you want to use that, and things like that. So yeah, it's a cool thing. You could set up different shout outs from the crew member next to you as well, and you can tune your radio and their base through the EFB if you don't want to do it through the airplane systems, but you can do it through the airplane systems. It's quite a challenging flight deck all round. Here's the bomb bay doors, I know that one. Even if you want to see the light switches, you have to jump into the right seat, and it's a bit hard, but there's a co-pilot in the way. I can get my seat position moved over here, and down here you can actually then fiddle around with the lighting systems and so on. So we've got the landing lights out, things like that. So it's a an interesting flight deck, certainly, and takes some getting used to. But what we're going to do is take it for a spin. So to take off, we're going to stabilise the engines with the brakes on, so we'll spool them up, and then I'll take you through a takeoff. So I'm going to spool them up to 80% RPM. So you can see that we've got our 4 RPM gauges. It's a fair bit of power. Spool them up. Stabilise at 80. That's good. Now I can release the brakes, and we'll go full power, and you should hopefully hear that howl. You need a little bit of forward yoke to hold the nose gear on the ground. There's that awesome howl. Rudder to keep it straight. Our co-pilot will call out to rotate for us. We're pretty light today, we haven't got any weapons in the payload bay, so it's having no trouble accelerating. You can see it trying to lift off, and quite a bit of rudder needed. About 150 we're going to rotate.
Decision.
There's rotate. Nose up. Climbing away.
Undercarriage up.
There's the gear up. Just a little button down here. Quite a cool system. And we're going to climb away at about, I think about 160 knots. So we're a little bit fast here. Roaring into the sky now. This is a powerful machine, and once it gets a bit of energy behind it, has no trouble. So I'm going to take it up a little bit high. We'll go up to a few thousand feet just for the transit down to the Mach loop. So now we're going to accelerate into our sort of en route climb. So I'm just going to lower the nose a bit, forward trim. The trim is very sluggish. That's one thing I have noticed, and they do include in the EFB the option to increase the trim sensitivity, because I imagine most of us aren't used to it being quite as difficult or quite as slow as it is. So I'm just going to set that in a little bit higher there, just to maybe help myself out. We'll accelerate to 250 for our en route sort of climb. Oh, that is better. That's a much better trim. Having a bit of, increasing that sensitivity helps a lot. And I'm going to bring the power back now to 90%, which is actually about where you get the howl. It's pretty cool. And then we're going to set this little manager here to the cruise position, and then I can increase it to 95%. And that's us making that awesome noise. Climbing away. 250 knots. We'll get up to a reasonable altitude, and then let's just have a look at our progress. So I've got, you can actually select the Mach loop. It is in Microsoft Flight Simulator already as a waypoint, and then it's here as custom A. So we're going to head down to that waypoint, and that will be our way to start our loop. Awesome. What a machine. It's so cool to get to experience a flight deck like this and an airplane like this in such an amazing amount of detail. The visibility is atrocious out of this cockpit, though, I will say that. The detail in here is lovely, though. And you'll see shortly that this is actually a great airplane to enjoy Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024's new scenery and ground detail. It makes sense in the Vulcan, because this is a fantastic machine for low-level flying, as we're about to prove. 6,000 feet there. Probably level out there. Power back a bit. There is an autopilot available. You can also, if you don't want to use the inbuilt one, which is obviously quite complicated, I did do a video on the Vulcan a while back where I did use a few more of these systems, but we didn't do the Mach loop. But I have since forgotten how to use the autopilot. But helpfully, I can go into here and you can do things like altitude hold, autopilot. So you can do it yourself, and there you go. Sorry, you can do it through the EFB and it will do it itself. cheating certainly, but there you go. If you don't want to, if you want a simple way to enjoy the Vulcan, you can just do it through the EFB, and even set the altitude in it. Or see the altitude you've got, 6.1. Excellent. Right, we are almost there. So as you can see, this is our custom A point. This is on the northwest corner of the Mach loop, and then we actually need to head down, and we'll follow it. And this is the valley where we'll start. The town is down here, so then we'll fly up this valley, and that'll take us around the loop like this, something like that. So I'll sort of overfly this waypoint, and we'll descend down into this valley. Awesome. Now, a few things to note. This is not as easy as I thought it would be, although obviously I knew it would be difficult, but the Vulcan is a particularly challenging aeroplane to do it in. Let's disengage the autopilot, and I'll show you why. First of all, we're currently doing 310 knots over here, and now I'm going to show you the maximum rate of bank it's going to give me at that speed. There you go. You've got to remember this is a heavy bomber, and it is not a high-speed, high-aggression aeroplane when you want to fly it like that. You need to be flying slower for that to work. Secondly, so manoeuvring around the valleys is tricky when you can't get the airplane to turn quick enough. So you obviously bank rate, so this is no good. So to solve that, I'm going to fly slower, somewhere about 250 knots as a maximum. So with the speed back here. Secondly, getting the nose down is hard. That's full nose forward, and that's all you're going to get. So what that means is if you pull up hard, which you can do a bit more easily, and then you want to nose over, it's difficult, and you can really struggle to get the nose down. That's why you see the Vulcan air displays do a bit of a wing over to let the nose drop. So you raise the wing like that, and then the nose can fall through the horizon more easily. It's a known thing with the Vulcan. You saw how on takeoff it tried to raise the nose. I was having to put quite a lot of forward stick in to get that to work. So yes, there we go. Right, so we're now coming up on our waypoint. So let's get into the seat. Let's spool back. The other thing that you need to remember with the Vulcan is it will accelerate quickly downhill, but it will also lose speed very quickly. So if you pull the nose up round turns, that big wing creates a huge amount of drag at low speed. So you need to keep on the power. You have to modulate the power carefully, because if you don't, you'll find yourself running out of energy rapidly. So this is the northwest corner of the loop, I believe, and it comes around here and then into this valley. So we are going to sort of join the loop over in that valley. So you can see here already, speed's too high, and it's hard to manoeuvre. So I'm going to bring the power right back, let that big wing drag. Finally, to help myself, I'm going to actually move my head slightly into the middle of the cockpit, because it gets very difficult to see out when you're actually strapped into a seat on the left there. I've got a lot of respect for the pilots who've had to fly this around with that restricted visibility. It's quite something. Okay. Speed's back now, 250 knots. Get the power back on, or you'll see it just keep washing off. This is not the way you would enter this officially, I'm certain, but I'm just using it to get the airplane into trim. I want it in trim about, like I say, somewhere around 250 knots before I start in the loop. That'll make my life easier. And now, look at my roll rate now. It's a much more manoeuvrable machine. Big wingspan, by the way. Don't let it get too close to the hills, or you'll soon find out about it. So here's that valley. I can see the river just about down here. So I'm going to pull the airplane round, and here's the river here. So we're going to follow along it, and there's our shadow. Look at that. How awesome is that? Keep an eye on that speed, adding a bit of power because it's just going to keep washing off. And let's give it a go. Awesome. Now, first trick is getting this right, which is we've got to fly along this valley. Quite easy with the river to follow. But then we have to make sure we take the correct turning left, which is coming up just here. So we'll take this to the left. And it's quite an aggressive turn. I'll show you from the outside. We're going to head up into this valley. Look at that shadow. How awesome is that? Don't want to lose too much energy though. Got to get the power on for this turn here. And it becomes a bit simpler now because we'll follow this main road. There's a lot of traffic on it for 2024, but yeah. Speed's washing off, you see, back at 230, so get the power on, power on, power on. There we go. Modulating it back a bit. Awesome. This is such fun. and it looks fantastic in, like I say, 2024. Look at this round window. It's just a light coming in from our side window here. Okay, following the road round. Oh, every time I reset the view. There we go. It's so hard if you don't sit in the middle. Next we're going to go to the right up here and up and around. Speed's good to 40 knots. Got to be a little bit careful with that nose. Don't want to cut too close in as well with that big wing. And now we're climbing, bit of power on. Again, I have no idea if this is completely right, but as far as I can tell from the website I was looking at, we're not far off. That's full nose over, you see. It's slow to drop the nose. That's where you're going to be tricky. Good. Next up, we're going to come round to the left. This is the sort of the northern edge of the loop. Again, the road does make it quite straightforward in some respects. So left turn here, I believe. And here you go. We picked up a bit of speed. We're over 250. Look how slow it is to get the nose round, and the wings aren't turning as fast as I want. There you go. 250 does seem to be the magic number. So powering back now because we're accelerating towards this hill. There is a speed brake. It's quite a good one too, actually. You can do it half deploy if you need it, and then you can go full deploy, then you can put it away again. It's a very powerful speed brake. Get the wings over around here. I have no idea what the technique should be, but we're a bit slow now, so powering on. Because if you're down at 200 knots, you're going to really struggle to get the energy back into the airplane, because that drag, big delta wings at low speed, cause vast amounts of drag. They're good at flying slowly in a sense that they don't stall like a straight wing might, but they are just so draggy when you do that. I'm going to go round this turn here. Rounds, we can do it. Here we go. 250 knots was a bit fast. That's cutting it a bit tight, I think. Awesome. Yeah, it looks so good. This is a great way to enjoy this airplane. Glad I'm finally doing it. Oh, don't let the wings get too close. And round we go here. And this now, we're facing south. We're on the western side of the loop, I believe. So this should bring us out shortly. A bit too fast here, a bit too fast. Might have to bail out this one. Get the power on, get the power on. I'm bailing out here. That's not going to work. I'm not entirely sure what routing you would take through there. I don't know if you can fly around that. But yeah, I'm going to exit over here. I think we pushed our luck enough. But that is the loop. And then you have the road back here, and then you're back in the valley. And then if you want to fly it again, you just make a left turn and fly up the river. And then you can just head in back the other side. We've done it. Awesome. Or an interpretation of it at least. Right, that's enough fun. Time to head back for our landing. So we're going to turn north from we're just on the bottom side of the Mach loop now, and head back up to RAF Valley to bring in the Vulcan for a landing, which is a really unusual style of landing, so should be good fun. Let's give it a go. Okay, RAF Valley is now up on the nose. It's just over here. I can also show you here. We're going to land. I'll just do a reverse. We'll actually go straight in. The wind's pretty light today, so we'll land in the northwesterly direction. First of all, bring the power back. We need to start slowing the airplane down. Like I say, it does have a lot of drag when it wants to, but we'll bring those back. I'll set the engine management to takeoff so we have the thrust available to us should we need to go around. Good. And we'll now start trimming back. Bring it back to 250 knots, and then I'm going to bring it back to 158 for an approach speed, which will have the nose right up in the air. Let's deploy some air brakes. We'll go with half air brakes for now to try and get the airplane to slow down. It won't lower the landing gear until we're at the right speed, so we do need to get it slowed down in advance, otherwise we'll have real difficulty getting it into our landing. Retrimming now, 210 knots. Still slowing down nicely, 200. Start bringing it around on the turn onto final. And as soon as that nose comes up and we start turning, it's going to just fall out the sky, so we've got to get the power on.
Speed checked, undercarriage down.
Gear down. And there we go, trying to hold it around here as I attempt to line up while not being able to see the runway. There it is. So keep it at half, just to get the nose up. Get the speed back. And then we have auto shoot deploy, so hopefully that will automatically deploy. Retrimming, get the nose up. There we go, what about 158? That's just about there. Looking good. Keep the nose up, crossing the threshold, deploy the full air brakes, hold it here, idle, there's touchdown, and I was hoping it would deploy the chute, it has not. I must have not set that up right. Holding the nose up, getting on the wheel brakes, there's the chute, gently letting the nose gear come down. It's a really nice airplane to land, I've got to say, good fun. Very satisfying, and it just has a lovely ground effect, and they've modelled it really nicely, that delta wing. And there we go. So it shows you can do a simple way of flying the Vulcan. You don't have to go for the full study level, although this is an amazing simulation that will let you do an awful lot of those things yourself should you want to. These switches, you know, I haven't found anything that doesn't work. I'm sure there are some, but I mean, look at it, it's fantastic. Everything you press does something. You can even do the safety pin stowage, look at that, for the seats. Yeah, really, really cool stuff. So that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching a flight in the Avro Vulcan from JustFlight in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Really good fun. I really loved this airplane in 2020, and of course it's great in 2024, as you would expect. It is essentially the same thing, but now you get to enjoy that low-level scenery, which there is definitely an improvement to in 2024, especially if you're flying at those sub 250 knots, nice and low level, just a couple of 100 feet off the ground. Plenty more videos, guides, live streams to come, so do please subscribe if you'd like to see those. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.